Hey all, we are going to be covering bevels in the full version of Photoshop. I'm working in CS4 here, but I'm sure in other versions of the full version it's very similar to this. I have a few bevels here that I've already been working with, and I have just a plain round circle here for us with a test layer, it's called, for us to play with in this tutorial. When you first open Photoshop, you may not see the styles as I have them over here. And when you open up the styles, there are very few or none in there. And if you're moving from Photoshop Elements to the full version of Photoshop, it can be very intimidating not having those styles in there, just to double click on and whammo, they're there, and you almost need to create your own styles. If you don't have the style palette open, you can go to the window drop down menu and choose style, and you can drag these things around. You know, if I wanted to put styles over here, wherever it comes up, pops up as new, you can move them. Like if I wanted to move paths up here, I could, but I want them to be down here in this one with my layers palette. And I'm going to go back to the styles. I have a bunch in here, but that's because I've been playing. There's not much in there when you first get started in Photoshop Elements. I have actually cheated and pulled in the bevels, the basic bevels from Photoshop Elements. I guess you can do that if you have Photoshop Elements. You can cheat and do that. The way you do that is to hit this little down arrow with the little menu symbol next to it and choose load, and then navigate to wherever your style is and load it, and it will show up right here. But we're going to start from scratch, not using any of these others. Here's some bevels I've made that are mine, that are different from these that I imported from Photoshop Elements. So let's just click on that to minimize that palette. Down here at the bottom is the FX symbol. If you click on it, you'll see some style options. Here's the one for bevel and emboss, and that's the one we're going to be looking at. So my style box has now come up and the bevel is checked. I'm not sure where to put this where we can. Let's just rearrange this a little bit, move this up. Let's try that again. Bevel and emboss. There we go. So you can see the circle as well as the settings here on the screen at the same time. So now I have just the default bevel on here, and you can go in and change any of these settings. You know, change. It's not making much of a change there. Here, size. There's the size. So if you want your bevel to be coming up or down a little bit more, you want to soften it a little bit. So basically you just have to play around with these. Here you can make your bevel go down instead of up. A whole different look. That looks a little funny. I don't really want it that high. You can change it from smooth to chisel soft. Here you can change it to an outer bevel, an emboss, a pillow emboss, or a stroke emboss. The ones I had been playing with were all inner bevels. Your next settings down here are for the angle of the light. and you can choose whether to use global lighting or not. And I'm going to skip this here because that's kind of important. But your highlights right now on here are this white area where it's highlighting, and your shadows are this dark area down here where it's shadowing. You can change the blending mode on that to anything you want. So see, that's softened it up quite a bit. I like that look a little bit better than that screen which was so stark. But you can also change the highlighting by double clicking on the colors and changing it to any color you want. I like to just dim my highlighting a little bit by maybe putting 75 or 50% in here so that it isn't white anymore, and so that it's gray. But you can do that in any manner that you want. Now this shadow underneath for me is just a little bit too dark, and so I like to just change that to 50% gray. If you've watched some of my other tutorials, you know you can easily do a 50% gray of anything by just changing the RGB to 50. You can see already that that style looks a lot better. Of course, you can change the blending mode to something else. There, it almost is beginning to look more like a glass ball just by changing this to color dodge. And so the only way to really learn what all of these various things do is just to get in here and play. There's opacity on each of these. Now the depth seems to be making a bit of a difference. So that is the basic part of creating a bevel, and but the fun part gets into it when you begin adding contour and texture, which you see are sub settings under the bevel and emboss. And here is the gloss contour. It has in here some basic settings, and you can click on them and watch what they do. You see this really makes a huge difference. I actually like the way that one looks. But if you do not like any of these contours that they have, you can also, let's just pick one. Double click to pick one. You can also just double click right here on this window, and it brings up the contour editor. Now this is where the real fun kind of begins. You can start moving this around. You can click on a different part of the line and begin moving it around. And there are no right or wrong answers in here. You can move this to any way that you want until you get something that looks cool. Yeah, I'll take this one here and pull it up. If you want to go back to one of the presets because you goofed up and start over, you certainly can do that. So that's where a lot of the fun comes in with the contours. Oh, there, that looks kind of cool. Okay, if you want to save your contour, you can do that by clicking Save, and you, I'm sure, can download contour files also. This is, you might not be able to see it. Contour files are .shc, so you probably can download contour files off the internet. I bet you if you search for them for free. And so I'm going to click OK. Now here is a sub menu for a contour, and I'm not exactly sure myself. I'm just new to this myself too. Why this is a contour for the gloss. And this looks like a contour, it says, for the elements. And so we can choose a different one, and you can see this affects more of the edge rather than the overall gloss of the whole thing. And you can really get some different styles this way. That looks like a cool button. Lots of cool things. You can even, drag it down. Wonder if you can't delete the line. See, I'm new with all of this. There it is straight, and then you can really begin just doing some fun things with it. And there is a whole new style that I just made of a whole new bevel. You can change the range of it, just play around. Then you can also add texture. Now, right now it has this pattern that is in it, and you can add any pattern that you want, and you will recall from other tutorials around my website that you can make your own patterns, and there are ones that are by default, and so I don't so far like any of these patterns, but for the sake of it, we're going to stop right there with this one, and you can scale the pattern. This doesn't look very good at all, but this of course gives you texture, as you can see, just like you can add texture to anything else that you're doing, just as you can add a pattern to a whole layer to make a paper, and to even add texture and to a whole paper. You're doing if you think about it, you're doing the exact same thing with this as you are the other textures in Photoshop. This is the depth. So you can really do a lot with a lot more. Invert. Of course, like I said, I don't like this texture. I'm not quite sure which one would be best. I don't like what we got going on here. But there's my style that I made from scratch, just playing. And we look at some of these other styles. A simple inner, which is the most common. If I click on it for you to see, it is just a basic inner bevel, and it's a smooth format, and the rest of it are basically the default settings in Photoshop Elements. What you want to do is probably change these colors and the blending modes when you're using this to make it more realistic. This one here is the simple sharp inner, which is used a lot, one of the more often used ones, and it is an inner bevel with a chisel hard, and the rest of the settings are the basic default that comes up. So just changing it to a chisel hard, and changing the size and of it and whatnot will get you that one. Now what's cool about this one, which is the scalloped edge one, it is the same as the simple sharp inner one with the chisel hard, only it adds this really cool contour. And it is this contour that has made this scalloped edge. It almost looks like a little wooden chip. And so that's what makes this one special. And the same with the inner ridge. It's also the basic bevel with chisel hard, but what makes it go have that ridge is the special contour here that is given, and it's actually the default preset for cone. And so that one would not be very hard to make at all. And so that gives you a little tour to show you really how easy it is to make a bevel. Of course, not this one. I just do not like that texture. There we go. That's a little bit better. Just by simply hitting this FX down here and choosing bevel and emboss, and changing the settings a little bit. As we said, let's see, right click, clear layer style. The right clicking and those options are the same as what's in Photoshop Elements, so you can pick that up in the other tutorials. Add bevel and emboss, and you end up with the default settings, and you can just raise this up and you have your basic. And then I showed you how some of the other basic ones have the chisel hard with contour settings. See, and there you have all that. Quickly you have this one down here. Only it's too size is too big, and the colors are off, which I showed you can change here. I'd do it more exact, but just to make it quickly. So just that quickly I made that one down there. So I hope you've understand using bevels a little bit more, which is a lot more detailed than just double clicking a style in Photoshop Elements. Gives you a whole lot more that you can do with them. And y'all have fun.